Welcome to Sit Downs with City Lifestyle, Vegas Edition podcast. My name's Chrissy Bound. I'm the owner of Henderson City Lifestyle, and we are here with one of our partners today, owner and founder of the video podcast studio, Trevon Angulo. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for letting me come in.
In your own space.
There
yes,
you go.
Exactly. Thanks for letting me come in. This place is amazing, and we have absolutely loved filming our podcasts here. And I'm curious, what was your inspiration behind starting the studio to begin with?
So I actually wanted to create a space like 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
Because like video podcasting was kind of becoming a thing, and I was like, this is really impactful for businesses. But the problem is that businesses are so slow to adapt to things that I was like, I don't really want to go start a space and then try to like convince people and work really hard to get people to want to come here.
Yeah.
So I just waited until my video clients started asking me like, hey, can you guys film and create a podcast for us? And I was like, okay, well, let me create a space where we can make it more affordable, because with the production rate, it just doesn't make sense. And I think for what podcasting is, it can be done affordably.
Absolutely. And we were here on the ground floor when this was your only studio. Now you have several.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the other studios that you guys have.
Yeah, so we have 4 rooms. 3 of them are done. The 4th one I keep changing, and I keep giving up, and I keep changing. I keep giving up.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so we kind of created different rooms that have a completely different vibe. So that way, just depending on your branding, the style that you want, and like just kind of like the vibe of the room, you can find the right fit for you.
And each, how can businesses arrange a session with you? Like, how does that process work?
So it's pretty simple. I mean, you can always just book online through the site. It's always surprising me when people do that, though, because we're pretty like hands-on with our clients. Yeah. And so I like to do a tour first and like kind of get to know them, because sometimes they want to do this because they think they need to, or like it's cool and trending to kind of do it. But there's been a few people where they've came through, they wanted to do it. After we talked, I told them, don't spend your money here. Like, this isn't going to help you with your goals.
Yeah.
Let's do X, Y, and Z instead, and let me connect you with some people where that might be a better use of your marketing dollars than creating a podcast. So I like to get to know them first to see if this is a good fit for them, because being a small business owner myself, like, our dollars matter.
1,000%.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't want you to waste your money on something that maybe isn't going to produce results the way that you are expecting it to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, are there certain types of businesses that you tend to see more of that are wanting to come in?
So I think what's ideal for this space is kind of like if you offer a professional service, right? I think B2B type stuff is really good. We get a lot of businesses, and they're kind of all over the place, from lenders, realtors, magazines. We have some content creators, but I always tell content creators when they come in here, like, we're not here for you, but if you want to use our space, we're here.
Yeah.
But like the support and guidance that we offer is really geared towards businesses of how do you leverage a podcast to generate revenue for your business. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's a lot of different industries.
For sure. I mean, just from the ones that we've seen since you got started, it seems like it's kind of all across the board. Originally, it was like there's a food-based one, and I mean, since then, it's really just kind of been all across the board. But I think you guys do a really good job of guiding people through the process, too. Because I know for us, when we first came in that first time, we were sweating, we were nervous, we didn't know what to say. And now, since we've been doing it so consistently, we just come in, plop down, and start chatting very casually. But you guys helped us with that process and kind of gave us some tips. When people come in, are they like us, sweaty and nervous originally?
Yeah, I think most people are scared. We tend to get a lot of people that are brand new to creating content in general, let alone a podcast. And so that was really important to me early on, because it was like, when we were building it, most people that do what we do, you're really just time slots. And although that sounds really nice as a business owner, of like not caring about our clients and just be like, yeah, book time slots, see you. I don't want to know who you are. It was evident to me very early on that a lot of people that were just naturally coming needed more support and guidance, because most people are scared. They're just like, I don't know how to do this. So we try to help walk them through it. And then we're kind of like an open door to any clients as well. Like, if they ever want to just sit down and strategize, we're always here. We're never going to bill for that, because like we want this to make sense for them.
For sure. I mean, in your opinion, what do you think makes for a good podcast?
So there's a few different ways of looking at podcasting. I like looking at it more as a networking tool than a content tool.
Okay.
To me, if you offer professional service, the networking that you can do through podcasting is more valuable than the content. Yeah. The content is still incredibly valuable. But for example, like I had a couple podcasts that we started and we didn't even drop episodes. We didn't drop clips. We didn't do anything. We gave the content to the people that we interviewed.
Yep.
And that generated revenue for our business because we brought certain people in here and started building relationships. Now, obviously, it's not like you shoot a podcast, all of a sudden you're making money. Like you have to still build that relationship.
Nurture those, yep.
And some people aren't the right fit. We brought people in this room for our podcast and it was like, quickly realized like, yeah, I don't think we're a good fit to work together. Like just not the right synergy. And so for me, when we look at it from like what makes a good podcast in the sense of like what's going to generate revenue for the business, I focus on, okay, can we bring in potential referral partners? Can we bring in potential clients? Can we bring in clients that maybe kind of fell away for a while and use this as a tool to reconnect with them? Because it's just such a powerful connection tool.
Absolutely.
And then to make the content good, it once again depends on your goals. Like, are you doing this to be entertaining and funny, or are you doing this to generate leads?
Yeah.
If you're doing this to generate leads, then you have to think about, okay, who's watching this? Ideally for a business, the person watching this is a potential customer with a problem, and they're watching this because they're looking for the answer to that problem.
Yep.
And so we want educational content. We want to establish ourselves as the voice of authority, to be likable. But the nice thing is you don't have to be likable to everybody. Yeah. And that's why I like podcasting. You need to be yourself.
For sure.
And people can see that, and they might be like, "Oh, I hate the way he's slouching."
We were just talking about this.
I know, and I felt myself slowly getting
as
lower.
I hold my shoulders back when you say that.
I slowly getting lower, and eventually I'm gonna be like this. Like, hey,
we're just gonna be laying in the middle of the podcast table by the end of this now.
Yeah, and so the nice thing is with the podcasting, it actually, if people start watching it, it will kind of funnel out people that don't want to work with you based off of you and your perspective, which is great. Now we're not wasting time with people like that. So the leads that do come from your podcast are typically better leads.
I completely agree. I feel like the authenticity that you're able to showcase in a podcast is so much easier than some of the other traditional forms of media, I guess. And that's what I love so much about it, because there is no script. There is no, here's what you're going to be reading through the entire time. You just sit down and have a conversation, and it feels a lot more natural than what you might see in a broadcast space or some of those more traditional forms of media.
It doesn't feel fake. I still do polished content, right, for clients with our other company, but which has its place. But this allows people to kind of peer behind this screen, right, and see who is this person really. And that's one thing we always have to kind of educate our clients coming from business, because they like polished stuff, and I'm like, this isn't meant to be polished. Obviously it'll be pretty, it's going to look good, we're cutting back and forth between the angles, but I actually always use one of your guys' sessions as an example.
Oh God, what did we do?
The one where Chad coughed a lot.
Yes.
I think it was the very first one. And
cough that wouldn't quit of 2024.
Well, and I was like, originally I was like, okay, we'll cut that out. But then he kept coughing, and it became part of it. You guys are laughing about it, and it became part of the show that it'd be weird to cut it. And then when you do cut a podcast, there's always a moment. I know when I watch certain ones, there's a live one I watch, and you can always tell when it got cut. This wasn't the whole raw thing.
Yeah.
And then I actually always go and Google it, and then there's a Reddit forum about what happened in the podcast, why they cut it, And so people can see that, and then it feels a little inauthentic at that point, because what are they removing? So we like leaving the stutters, the mistakes in, because it's just you being you, and it humanizes you to the audience.
Yeah, I completely agree. I joined Toastmasters after those first few, because we watched them. I had no idea how many times I used filler words so, which I still do, but much less than I did in the very beginning. But when I watched that very first one, I was so embarrassed. I was like, I don't want to post it. I said probably 45 times in a 10-minute time span. But you just get more comfortable, and you realize this is how you naturally speak. And people don't hate you in real life for saying or but. So if you say it on the podcast, oh, well, here it is. This is who I am, you know?
I remember, I think the first couple I filmed, when I watched back, I said right a million times.
Yeah.
And I don't say that when I'm speaking normally. It's just when I want to record.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have to keep, I just said it right there too. Thanks. But I probably said it 100 times in this episode. So, hey, let us know how many times I've said right already.
Somebody count for us.
But like, I remember watching it back and it was like, so right, when you do this right.
Yeah.
And this right. And when you eat a sandwich right. And I was just like, dude, how many times did I say right? So I've tried to be better about that. But even still, like I've kind of just quit caring. I'm like, I'm just going to talk and I don't even watch it back. Just put it out.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. They can count your rights and they can count my likes and and I'm sure the tally would be astounding at the end of it. But the interesting thing that I've noticed just from our analytics is the ones where we do make mistakes and where we have the coughs, the stutters, too many arm movements because I'm Greek in the podcast, whatever it is. Those are the ones that people tend to gravitate to. And I think because of exactly your point, they want to see the real. They don't want to see the polished, perfect, filtered versions of all of us. And I think it's great from the clients that we've brought on our Meet the Partner series with you guys because they want to see who these clients are. They want to know who owns the business. People are using these stores, restaurants, doctors, et cetera. But the podcast has really given our audience a look behind the veil to see what is their personality like. People might not know that Dr. Harpreet Sui is hysterically funny if they just saw her in, something a little bit more formal. Like they might not get to see those versions of those people. And that's what I love so much about this is just getting to share their story. But you and I have talked a ton about storytelling being hugely important for brands now. I mean, when people are coming in, how do you guide them in terms of being able to share their story?
Yeah, so for us, with podcasting, it's a little bit different, right? Because a lot of times if you're doing this for your business, and depending on the type of business that you are, you're typically interviewing somebody, right? And so you're really trying to get them to share their story and then have commonalities that you can kind of pitch in. And then that's where some people might struggle because it's like interviewing is not as easy as you think it is. Now, having conversations is easy. And that's why we always try to tell people, like, look, don't stress it. You're having conversations. We actually have a new client. She's shot 2 episodes so far, and she's bringing on her first guest. And she was just DMing me. She's like, oh, my gosh, like I'm nervous. Like, how am I going to ask them? I was like, look, have some bullet points of like some common things that you want to talk about. But that, I was like, I guarantee you, though, once you start talking to them, you guys are just going to go. Yeah. And the conversation is going to flow just like it would if you were having tea time with the girls or whatever, right? That's
tea time.
That's all this is, right? Like this is just us hanging out.
For sure.
And maybe the first time it feels a little bit weird because you have all these lights and you kind of notice the cameras. But like once you start talking, like all that stuff kind of just fades away.
You kind of forget.
Yeah. And then what happens so many times is like as soon as it's done, both people are like, man, that went fast.
Yeah.
Like that was an hour? Like, I told you, it goes fast.
That I hear that every single time because we do about 20 to 25 minutes and people are like, what are we going to talk about for 25 minutes? First of all, I would say to anybody who asks me that, have we met? And then second of all, I would say it goes a lot faster than you actually think once you're in there because there is a lot to say, And I think for us, we've had such a good time doing this. And the biggest thing for City Lifestyle here in Vegas, I think, is just you guys have a way of elevating brands, and it's not just ours, it's other people that you've worked with. Everybody can go on Amazon and buy a microphone for, $15 these days and, do a live or do something like that. But this elevates the branding, in my opinion, to a whole nother level. And the video quality is great. The editing is great. And it just polishes everything. And that, I think, is, from just a customer standpoint, being one of your guys' clients, that's what's been the game changer for us.
Yeah. I mean, we always tell people, like, look, you don't need to film in a studio. And I'd rather you just start. Like, if money's the issue, which we are affordable.
Yeah.
But if money's the issue, then just start.
Yeah.
Right? Like, starting is still better than not doing it.
For
and
sure.
if the quality's low, the quality's low.
Yeah.
But if you offer a professional service, having quality video production changes the way people view you instantly.
For sure.
Everything is perception. And so if you look like you're filming and your 3-year-old kid was filming, like my son takes photos on my phone and films me all the time. They look like trash. I like having them, but he's 3 years old. He doesn't know what he's doing. If it looks poor for certain content, people are going to equate the quality of your company to the quality of the video, right? There's a reason why, I talk about this kind of often, but like Glenn Lerner, right? He has kind of crappy commercials that he used to do back in the day where all of a sudden he's turning into a tornado, right? And the graphics are pretty cheesy and pretty bad. He has the money to make this thing incredible and to look high-end, look like a Nockvi, but he's intentionally not doing that because people look at that and go, oh, he's not a rich lawyer. I can afford him then.
Yeah.
Right? There's a psychology behind the quality of the product you're putting out there and the way you're representing yourself. And so it's important that, like, if you want to be taken seriously, and also, like, if you're a business and now you're bringing people into your living room to interview them or something weird, or only doing Zoom, there's so much power behind the face-to-face. And so having a space like this to bring them to just elevates you get taken more seriously. Like, we hear those conversations all the time when people walk in. They're like, oh, I thought we were going to be filming your living room. This is amazing. Oh, I didn't know you were doing this and that. Like, and it's like all of a sudden you have a level of professionalism that even if you don't have it, people think you do.
Well, and you've hosted quite a few events here too. Are you still doing your women's series where you're bringing the entrepreneurs in?
Yeah. So, we do a women's entrepreneur night. It's really fun. We've changed the way we do it. We actually now do a little bit of education as well. It's a 3-hour event. We try to do monthly. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that schedules everything. And
and you're busy.
And it's just hard. Like, we are supposed to have one next week, and I got to tell our speaker we forgot to run the ad. So we're going to push it back a week. We're still going to do it.
Hey, that's life.
But we do like an hour of networking. We're doing it 2 different ways now where you can pay for a ticket to just come and network, or pay for the content creation as well, because we do content creation during it. We charge for it just because it changes who shows up in the room. And we spend all that money on bringing speakers in, paying for food. We full on cater it and stuff. And so we do like an hour networking, an hour of like Q&A session if you want to go in there, and then another hour of networking and hanging out while we're creating that content the whole time too.
That's awesome. So people can go to the event, have a snack, meet some people that they might be able to collaborate with, and leave with a content piece. Yeah.
The one thing that's been really cool about the women's night is every time we've had it, we hear multiple times how this is the first event they've actually met a lot of people, and they actually got to connect with like everybody there.
Yep.
Because there's no cliques. We foster an environment of not being salesy as well. So it's literally just women hanging out, talking, eating, creating some content, and I think the content barrier is kind of like, oh, did you already go create it? Right. And because they're all a little bit nervous. Yeah. So I think that helps kind of remove some barriers and an icebreaker for a lot of people. Yeah. So it's been fun. Like, we're really big on community. Like, we view ourselves more as a connection hub.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is where deals happen. This is where connections are made. We can connect people to each other, and we just want to kind of foster that environment. So that's why we do the events.
Well, it's funny. I met a girl at one of the events here who ended up being my neighbor. She lived around the corner from me in my same neighborhood and had for probably 10 years, and we just never knew it. And it was hilarious because we started talking, and then, come to find out we live in the same neighborhood. She told me her street name. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And we've passed each other a million times. We both are walkers, and we've walked together since then. So I'm like, if you're walking down the street, I'm walking. Like, why are we not walking together? And it fostered from one of the ladies' nights here, which is pretty wild.
That's cool.
So, but yeah, to your point about connecting people for business, but also for friendships too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. One, business is built on relationships,
100%.
right? So even that person doesn't become a client, but now you guys have that friendship. Yeah. She might be able to get somebody to you at some point, right? And that's been big for us. We do a few other events. We're not great at like posting about them. And one of them I don't post at all on purpose. And the last one we did, actually, I invited somebody specifically who just started using our studio to meet somebody else who started using our studio 3 weeks ago. Because I was like,
These two
yeah, you guys need to meet each other, be on each other's podcasts. I was like, you offer a service that this dude needs. It's in the same industry. And then, so they came out, and then our whole like meetup literally just turned to talking about like their stuff. And they chatted for 3 hours straight.
I love it.
I'm sure they're going to be doing business together, and both of them will make a lot of money from each other. And so it's cool to see that. Like, you know, it's also a reason why we like to meet with the people first too.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to get people to come in and become a member of the studio, we kind of want to not be like super selective, but selective of who we allow in here, because relationships are so fragile that if somebody's scummy and scammy,
you don't want them.
I don't want them around our other clients. And so we try to foster this environment of the people that we let sign up for memberships care, they're giving people, they're actually doing good, right? And they're just, I don't know, more supportive.
I love it. Yeah. I think we feel the exact same way with the magazines too. And we tell everybody the magazines aren't for everyone. And it's intentional because you're fostering a community here. And same as what we're doing with our City Lifestyle magazines. We're fostering a community of people who can then do business together, work together, use each other's services. And it's important that you align with the right people for that, you know? So if somebody's never done a podcast before and they're feeling nervous, what would you tell them to do? Should they go to your website? Should they reach out to you guys online? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say DM me on Instagram. I basically live there.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the fastest ways. You can always go to the website, but, you know, DM me. Once again, come check out the studio.
Yep.
I'll answer any questions that you have. And even if you go to a different studio and you want to hit us up for other questions, we're happy to answer. Like, we don't gatekeep. We just want to help you become successful with this. And I'd say don't be scared. Don't be nervous.
Yeah.
I spent 20 years behind a camera on purpose.
Same.
I don't like being in front of the camera.
Yep.
And it's funny now because like we have our podcast, right? It's crazy how quick people start noticing it.
Yes.
Because like I show up to hockey on a new team with my son, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, like, hey, aren't you a podcaster? Like, I've seen your
so
podcast.
funny.
And I'm like, I am not a content creator. I am not a podcaster, but I do happen to have a podcast that I use to meet people.
Yep.
And I'd say, you know, if you own a business out in Vegas as well, you want to come on our podcast, we have one called Built in Vegas. We interviewed you.
Yeah.
I need to have you come back on too.
Sure.
But we just want to make Built in Vegas like a resource for entrepreneurs. So if you want to come on the podcast, we're here.
Hey, I am down. And it's so funny because you and I both have worked in media for a really long time, both behind the scenes, not in front of the camera people. And we had so many discussions about that, about how odd it is to go from being a behind the scenes person, you behind the camera specifically, and me on the business side, to being in front. It's you feel like you're sitting there like so awkward in the beginning. You don't know what to do or say, and it's just so bizarre. But to your point, eventually you just kind of get used to it. And I think you've done a really good job. I've been watching like just your evolution since you guys opened the studio, and the studios that you guys have are beautiful. The editing, the quality that you guys do is amazing. And I cannot thank you enough on behalf of the City Lifestyle Squad for all that you've done for us. So we appreciate it.
Well, we like having you guys in here. So
yeah.
We haven't kicked you out yet, you know.
I know. We didn't sweat enough when we were nervous in the beginning to make you guys not want us to come back.
I remember that first episode, though. It was so funny because you guys were both so nervous. I'm like, dude, you guys are going to kill it because you guys know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Like, when you think about it, like, you're just talking about stuff that you know.
Yeah.
And you're having conversations with friends. And I think it's harder when you bring in strangers, which I do a lot of.
Yeah.
But then even then, it's not hard, too, because I'm like, I don't even know you, so...
Whatever.
Tell me about you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. How'd you get into that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're just having normal conversations, and you guys crush it. You guys did so well.
Thank you.
And you guys are so knowledgeable about what you guys do. I think you guys need to do a few more episodes of just you guys talking, though, about and providing, like, education and some more advice and stuff.
Well, the people have spoken. We will. We'd love to. I mean, it's definitely on our radar. We want to be a resource. I think that people who have been in media might know a little bit about our backgrounds, and they may know that this is not our first rodeo. We've been doing it for a long time. But for those that don't specifically work in media, I think you're right. There's definitely a lot. We barely scratch the surface on the marketing-based topics. So there's plenty of content there that we could discuss. So
yeah, I think you guys should do some more content that's obviously what you're doing is great already because you're building those connections, but I think you guys need a little bit more of the education coming out because you guys do have so much knowledge. I mean, I remember when we started talking and met, right? I was like crazy impressed. I was like, man, she like knows her stuff, right? Like you know, not just with like what's involved in the magazine though, like, you know so much more. And I think that the more that you guys could educate as well, right? The more it'll generate leads for the business because when they work with City Lifestyle, specifically like you,
they're getting all the marketing stuff behind
They're not just getting ad placement in a magazine. They're getting support. They're getting strategy. They're getting ideas outside of the magazine. They're getting your experience. And I think that doesn't show enough when you're just interviewing other people. And I don't think people realize like how much knowledge you guys actually have.
Well, I appreciate it. And I think it's good advice and we're always open. And I think that there is a lot of education that goes into marketing, especially now because there's so many options available that people are just overwhelmed. And I think sometimes people are just like, they throw their hands up and say, I don't know where to start, so I'm just not going to do anything.
And there's so much bad information.
And there's a lot of bad information. But you said something that really resonated earlier on the podcast when you said, just get started, just do something. You know, you have to do something. Like, you know, a lot of people will open up a business and then they just think that the doors are going to burn down and people are just going to stampede through because we're open. And while you're lucky in life, if that does happen, 99.9% of the time it doesn't, and people need to know you exist. And that's where people like you and like myself and our City Lifestyle team, like that's where we come into play, just to help them navigate. And the other thing I think that you and I aligned with a lot from the beginning is if this is not the right fit for them, if you don't think that the podcast is the right space for them, you'll tell them. And same thing with me with the magazine. Like if I meet with somebody and they're going after a totally different audience than our magazine hits, I'll tell them there's other things that you can do that are going to be more suited to the audience that you're trying to reach, because it's not for you or I, it's not a cash grab situation. You know, we're not trying to just like get these people to do business with us for a month or two. Like we're trying to build long-term relationships with people that we're going to work with, you know, 5-10 years from now. And the only way that you do that is by being honest. And so I think that, you know, just on a personal level, one of the huge ways that I felt aligned to want to do business with you from the beginning was like you saw the big picture in the same way as we did. And that was hugely important for us too. So we'll take that advice. Yeah.
Flipping the script a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the biggest challenges that these business owners face right now?
Honestly, overwhelm is huge. Like now, it used to be you had a few major platforms to be able to share your message. You had, you know, broadcast, you had the newspaper, you had magazines, you had radio, you know, you had the major platforms that you'd use. Now, everybody's got a camera, everybody's got a microphone. With social media, it's helped, but it's also made things a lot more challenging. The digital space has opened up a whole new realm as well. So I think there's so many options to choose from that people don't really know how to even start. So then they get like the paralysis by analysis where they just do nothing. And so I think, you know, the hardest part can be the overwhelm, but also figuring out which of the platforms is the most beneficial to reach the audience you're trying to target. Because I think that's another mistake a lot of businesses make, is that they try to be everything to everyone. And when you're trying to be everything to everyone, you can't be anything to anyone. And you have to really narrow down who your audience is and then figure out which of the platforms that are available to you are going to be the most beneficial in terms of targeting that audience specifically.
Yeah, and I think one thing that business owners need to remember, and the marketing directors need to remember, right, is things take time.
Yes,
There's no, like, I'm going to post this all of a sudden, just giant leads, right? Or I'm going to put one ad in a magazine and giant leads. I think that they need to remember that it's a combination of things, right? We have a client that works with a lawyer, and he kind of helps manage their social media. And they feel like it's hard to like be like, okay, here's a direct result from this, because maybe they saw him in the magazine, and then maybe they saw him on the billboard, and then maybe they saw the social media, and then they decided to call because they got in a wreck and they remembered the name.
Yep.
Right. And so it's kind of hard to like quantify some marketing efforts sometimes. Like
Yeah.
now sometimes you can have direct like this, but once again, like let's just say they saw an ad in City Lifestyle. They might just go look it up on social media versus going from
There
their
to-
direct link and the call or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Right. What is something that you wish that businesses understood about like advertising and being part of City Lifestyle?
Well, I mean, going back to what you just said, that's a huge part of it. I think that digital gives you great analytics, right? Because it's going to tell you this is the exact number of impressions that were delivered. This is the exact number of clicks that we got. And so there's a lot of analytics that you get from the digital side of things. The problem is people don't operate mechanically. And so to your exact point, they might see an ad in the magazine and then they might get in their car and they might pass that same client's billboard on the 215. And then they might sit down at their desk and pull open their browser and go to a website and get served an ad for that same client. And then they might find them on social media. Like the audience doesn't always remember exactly where it came from. And I always say, like, you know, as long as all the ships are, everyone's rowing in the same direction, that's the most important part. But I feel like, is trackability important? Yes. But people aren't always going to remember where that came from. It could have come from, all four of those things might have helped them. And they might mention the last point of contact, which could have been social or it could have been the magazine. It could have been whatever that was. Like, it's hard to determine what it was that actually like clicked. And the truth of the matter is it was probably all four of them, you know? So I think that can be a little bit hard. I totally went on a tangent. Your question was, what do I wish people would know about City Lifestyle?
Or like advertising
In general. Yeah, I think three things. Number one, having an understanding of who your core audience is, so you know how to target them. The second thing is having a message that resonates, like, you know, having some type of a creative message that's going to speak to the problem that they have, like you mentioned earlier, and speak to a solution that you can provide them. And then the consistency, you know, the consistency is key. You can't just, I'm going to try this for a month and hope that it works. Like, unless you're having some crazy, ridiculous, time-sensitive sale or a show that's like a one night only or something like that. Like, if people come to me and they want to do the magazine, like, I just want to do a month, I will tell them, don't do it. Like, don't do it. Take the money and use it somewhere else. Not because I don't want to work with them, but because, again, I'm trying to build long-term partners, and I know that advertising takes time. I know it's like that train ramping up, and the more that people see you, the more it can take people 7 to 10 times of seeing your ad before they're even going to take it in and allow it to imprint on their brains.
And
you know,
some things are time sensitive too.
Exactly.
Right. Some things are only going to happen when something else happens.
Correct.
Right. Like, think about blinds. Right. Like, I get Anderson Renewal or whatever that company is. I get theirs
every single month. You're getting that.
I get mail from them every single month. And I promise you, the day that I'm like, we need to replace our windows or we need to do this, I'm going to call them because they're like the only company I know.
Yes.
And I see their stuff all the time, and they're always there in front of me. Mm-hmm. And so when the time comes, they will be the company I use.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not time sensitive for everybody. You know, it just depends. Same thing even with like what we do, right? Like with podcast, like some people, like it might be on their radar of what they need to be doing, but there's always a catalyst that makes them go like, okay, we need to start doing this.
For sure.
Right. And so it's just like we just have to be in front of them in as many places as we can so that when the time comes, they think of our name, which is a very generic name and easy to forget. And I should probably change it too.
It's easy to remember because it's so funny because I'll tell people, I'm like, they're like, okay, where are we filming? I'm like, the video podcast studio. And they're like, okay, yes, but what is it called? I'm like, the video podcast studio. And it's so funny, but it's very easy to, in my opinion, it's very easy to remember.
Yeah. Well, when I was coming up with the name for the studio, I tell people I was like opening up a podcast studio, and they're like, oh, I'm like, but is there going to be video? I'm like, yeah, like, of course. And they're like, so I was like, but I had that question so many times. So I was like, all right, let's just call it the video podcast studio.
Yeah.
So that way they know they're getting video too.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, is it too generic? Should we have like a name like some French name? Just
no,
like,
you gotta.
And then like a studio.
You gotta leave it. You gotta let it ride because it's almost like people almost chuckle sometimes. They're like, oh, it's actually called. I'm like, yes, that's the actual name. Very simple. It says, and there's no brand confusion with what you guys are doing here. You're a video podcast studio, period. So
exactly.
It makes it easy.
The only thing I don't like about it is I don't think it looks cool for merch.
Yeah.
Like for our shirts and stuff. I'm like, I mean, it's not bad, but the name's just so long too. It's like, it's not like cool. But we're not very cool, so it's okay.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. You got to give yourself more credit. But, well, we could do we'll definitely do another session, of course, over the course of time. But I appreciate you coming on with us today. Let our audience know one more time how they can find you.
Find us over at the Video Podcast Studio on Instagram, mainly. We are on TikTok, but it's me just like FaceTiming basically and chatting. And then the website,
The Video Podcast
videopodcaststudio.com.
I love it. Well, thanks for making the time today. We appreciate it. And thank you for listening or watching with us today. We'll see you next time.